Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good to the afternoon. Yes, it's rainy. Yes, it's cooling off. Yes, it's getting colder. Yes, it is becoming more seasonal. Yes, all of this stuff is happening. Every bit of it is happening. And the reason it is happening is because this is that time of the year. We kind of got a brief taste of warm weather, but it's not the season for that. Okay. So I'm just grateful for the privilege to be able to be here and to share with you. I do apologize for not being able to be on at noon, but was waiting on, had a doctor's appointment, and they decided to draw blood, and everybody and their grandmother was getting blood tests done. So I had to wait on that, and then a person was supposed to show up. Um, and did not, which meant that was 3 to 4 hours of my day that was gone. But it's still all good, and as the songwriter says, I won't complain. Sabrina, how are you? Jemison, I see you. Carletta, be safe in your driving. Thea, how are you this afternoon? Okay. Nancy, good to have you. And so, um, you know, it is what it is. It does what it does. It acts the way it acts. It performs what it performs. And so, what we have to learn how to do is to not complain. Gina, how are you? Good to see you, Minister Sarah. Good to have you with us. And that's the key to the whole thing. In the midst of this and some of the things that are happening and some of the things that are going on and some of the chaotic catastrophes that are happening on a global basis, yet still, the last time I checked, God was still in control. Carolyn, how are you this afternoon? Good to see you. And so, in the midst of that, we want to deal with a couple of things, look at a couple of things. Sylvia Scott, how are you? And we're going to keep you for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We got some other things we got to get done, and we're trying, even though the mishaps of today threw my whole schedule off. See, I always have leeway time in the midst of what I do because of the unexpected, but this time the unexpected lasted a whole lot longer. Okay. Ethel, how are you? Dr. Gator, hey, my friend, how are you? Praying that all is well with you and your family and your church, and that God is showing himself mighty and powerful in your life. I know he can, I know he will, I know he is. And so to God be the glory in the midst of that. And so I got 2 minutes before I get started, but I like to come on just a little bit earlier to give people an opportunity to come on, and I can shout out at them. They can shout out at me and all that kind of good stuff. Remember, this is only going to last. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best to that this snapshot lasts 15 minutes. I've been doing a good job lately. But the richness of the conversations and the lessons that are taking place just kind of, hey, Don, how are you? Bless his holy name. The Spirit of the Lord rests upon you to do the work that God has called you to do. Ayana, how you be? How you be? Doe, how you doing? Okay. And we're grateful to God for that. Let me go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and begin the lesson. All right. Let me write that down, my friend. April 20th. All right. You are on my prayer list, my friend. And we're believing that God is going to bring you through more than a conqueror. Barbara, how you be? How you doing? How is everything? Here we go. Got it. I'm to the point now that I put stuff in my calendar, because if I don't put it in my calendar, it's over. Okay. And so, Pastor Turnage, what is up, man? Bless you, my friend. Good to have you with us on today. Okay. And I got it in my calendar, Dr. Gator, and we'll be not just waiting until the 20th to pray for you, but we'll be praying for you up toward that date. Debbie, how you be? How you be? Listen, let me go ahead and get how do we break? And we this lasted a lot longer than what I thought it was going to. This conversation, these snippets have really become a blessing, not just to me, but to you as well. And so how do we break financial bondage? And in order for financial bondage to be broken, you remember that we have to deal with the deficit that created it. We have to deal with the issues that promulgated. We have to deal with the psychosis that says, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Everything will be fine. And I'll deal with it later. Not realizing that later is like compound interest. It just continues to accumulate. How can I bring myself under control? How can I, Elder Boundary, how can I like that, Don. Pastor, cousin, uncle. He all of that and then some. You remember, Carletta, give, save, and spend. If you understand these principles, Erica, how are you? Give unto the Lord what belongs to him. Save money for the unexpected, and then pay your bills. You will never run out of money. Ooh, that was a lesson right there in and of itself. You will never run out of money. Number one, if you give as the Lord has required of you to give, God is obligated to give back to you. Okay? And so the thing is, if you have not been found faithful over a few, there's no way that God's going to trust you with many. As you understand, as we go back into our lessons, this is a personal relationship that exists between you and God. It's personal and it's personified because it has your name on it. It is between you and God. It is not between you and a collective number of people. It is individualistic, catered, and put together in such a way so that it meets every need in your life. But God can't trust you with the keys to the kingdom, and God can't trust you with riches and fame and fortune until you have been found faithful in the minuscule. Woo! So what do I do? How do I deal with those impulses that say, and I know we don't really say it out loud, but we say it in our behavior. I need somebody to recognize me. I need somebody to see that I exist. I need somebody to acknowledge that I'm alive. What do I have to do? What do I have to do to keep that under control? What do I have to do to keep the impulses of drugs and alcohol and sex and all of these other things, eating and all these other compulsions that are created by deficits in our lives? How do I bring it under control? Because many times in my life, I don't even realize that I'm doing it because it is like second nature. Hey, Jaleesa, how are you? It's just like when I get in my car and I've made it up in my mind that I'm going to the store. I'm going to Giant Eagle. Well, I don't always go to Giant Eagle. So if I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing, I will automatically go to a place that I normally go to and not realize that I'm not on my way to Giant Eagle. Why? Because I have patterns and habits that have been established that are so unconscious that I find myself doing some things. I said, Paul said it. He said, when I would do good, evil is with. He said, every time I want to do the right thing, something chaotically sinister shows up that causes me to move in the wrong direction. So how can I control my appetite? How can I control the fact that I'm not happy? And the reason that I eat as much as I do is because I need something to make me feel good. Oh, bless his holy name. What the reason that the appetite for sex is out of control is because I need to feel good. I need to feel wanted. I need to feel loved. And what we fail to understand is the enemy is the one who has planted the seed of doubt. And then he brought supporting role actors into it. Y'all gonna catch that. What is a supporting role actor? I'm glad that you asked me that question. A supporting role actor is the person that comes along to reinforce the behavior of the supreme or the actor that is the star of the show. So here's what happens. Hey, dear, how you doing? Love you too, dear LMA. Satan comes along. He tells me I ain't no good. He tells me I'm ugly. He tells me my hair is nappy. He tells me don't nobody love me. He tells me in the midst of my abandonment, my mama, daddy didn't want me. He tells me this, I raised Poe, and everybody else seems to have more than my family does. I do all of these things, okay? I become addicted to things because I need to feel happy. So I smoke a joint. I smoke a joint because for whatever reason, it gives me this euphoric moment not too long ago. And in the midst of all of that, the reason I got a bottle waiting on me, I don't have a bottle waiting on me, but I just throw that out there is so that whenever I'm feeling down and out, I can just crack me a little something, pour it in there. But the problem is, it's temporary. It's temporary. Yeah, Satan sends supporting actors. Yeah, he does. Y'all don't believe me? Whatever you've gone through, whatever Satan has planted in your mind or in your spirit, Satan sends people along to say, yeah, the color purple. Yeah, you ugly. You sure is ugly. It's the same. It's the same thing. And in the midst of this, I need to understand what God says juxtaposed to what people say. But the problem that I'm having with God is he's not visible. He's not tangible. And so what the enemy does is he sends tangible agents or tangible supporting actors in to come along and to mess with you and to reinforce the fact, yeah, you stupid. Your daddy was stupid. Your mama was stupid. And then Satan will send people to reinforce the fact that you're not bright. The point of the matter is, it's not the fact that you're not bright. The point of the matter is you just may learn differently and nobody had the good sense to understand how to do it. Because everything is cookie cutter. Everything is cookie cutter. We don't understand variances and how God does different things in the lives of people because some people's levels of intelligence are not ignited until certain things happen. And when it happens, they become geniuses. Oh God, I hope I'm teaching this thing. I got to get us to understand and to recognize this. And these are unconscious things that happen in our life, Felicia. These things happen on a regular basis. I cut on the TV during the fast, cut on the TV, and I'm watching the Food Network. Now, did that make sense? It did at the time, because guess what? Food was not a priority. Now that I'm no longer fasting, although I am getting ready to go back, because what the doctor told me today, Pastor Ross, how are you? What the doctor told me today ignited a fire in my spirit. And so I'm determined to see some things happen. Okay. Are you loving this lesson? I'm trying, Pastor Ross, I'm trying to get us to understand, where does this stuff come from? Why is it when I look in the mirror, I'm not happy? Why is it when I drive my car, I'm not satisfied? Why in the world do I need to over intoxicate myself? Why in the world do I need to do all of these things? Why do I always need to overindulge? Why do I run my credit cards up to a ridiculous magnitude? And then I need the same God. Bishop Moore, how are you, my bishop? Listen, the same God I've robbed, is the same God I call on to bail me out. Are y'all hearing? Are y'all hearing me? Okay. And Barbara, it is said. Hey, Darlene, how are you? It is said that a glass of wine is good for you, but what kind of wine you drinking? You need to understand that the wine we like is not medicinal wine. Teach, Pastor, doggone it, teach. Listen, we like the other stuff. Did you hear me, Pastor Turnage? This is what we do. Think about this for just a second. Because we have not given, we have not saved, and we're not powerful in managing our spending. The same God we robbed is the God we call on to bail us out. It's an amazing thing. Hey, Laverne. And so, yes, from a medicinal point of view, a glass of wine a day is good, but we ain't drinking the right kind of wine. We want that sugary sweet stuff. The kind of wine they're talking about has a bitter countenance to it, and we ain't gonna drink that. So guess what? You need to leave it alone. Because see, okay, here we go. Sometimes something that tastes sweet ain't sweet to you. I hope y'all caught what I said. Because see, sometimes, sometimes it's the sugar that creates the addiction. Just like people who can't quit eating pasta. Why can't they? Because it's sugar. There's a whole lot of things, Pastor Turnage, that we are addicted to because we put these things, we drink. Bishop, y'all drink red Kool-Aid. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. And so, hey, Sean, how are you? And so this is what we got to recognize and understand, because the way we indulge in things, because the gate is open. I don't have the ability to control it because I drink a little bit of something and I feel a little good. And then something in the back of my mind, Monica says, turn around and drink a little bit more, Pastor-elect Jordan. And in the midst of all of this, we see this quite clearly. And so the addiction is created. And here's what we don't recognize. And I got to get us to see this if we don't see anybody else. Somebody else is watching our behavior. And they watching us indulge could create a deadly scenario for them. Because in our minds, we say, oh, that can't happen to me. That I can control what I'm doing. I used to be one of them. Be drunk as coolie high. Drink way too much, just as intoxicated as they come. And still with my drunk self would turn around and say, hey, I got this under control. Swerving all over the place. Can't even put the key in the door. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. How do I control this behavior? How do I bring it under control? How do I bring myself, my flesh under subjection? It says, y'all remember we in Matthew 6. Are y'all with me? In Matthew 6. You need to quit worrying about stuff. And the reason we worry is because we're competitive. I've always been amazed at how competitive broke folk are. I know I lost y'all. I am overwhelmingly amazed at how competitive broke people are. If you see people with money, you wouldn't even know they had money because the way they dress, the way they live. You can tell somebody ain't got no money because they're wearing every dime they got. I remember in the heyday of the rubber companies in Akron, a lot of the families would live in shacks and drive Cadillacs. I know y'all don't like me, but I'm going to call it the way it need to be called. I'm going to say it the way it need to be said. Timothy, how are you? And so in the midst of this is what Jesus says. And in the midst of not drinking or doing drugs, somebody somewhere got something they're addicted to that they don't eat. You may be addicted to the internet, television, pornography. Let me go on and spell it out like it need to be spelled, because many times, because you're by yourself and nobody sees what you're doing. But your body and your mind is responding to false stimuli. Yeah, I'm bringing out the psychology part of it. False stimuli, because the deficit craves for attention. And the problem is, it ain't about you. It's about who's in you, who has been working through you, and who has been providing for you. Can I talk about this? Okay. But seek first, which means what? Now I have to prioritize my thoughts, but I cannot prioritize how I think unless I've been introduced to a new paradigm whereby it will challenge the regular thought processes to think of things above, whatever things are good, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, if there be anything praiseworthy, think on these things. And for those of you that's closet sinners who say, well, I'm not as bad as everybody else. If your mind is on something too long, Jesus said, if you look on a woman and lust for her, you done committed adultery, which means what? You can look on a woman without even seeing the woman physically, because the mind has the capability to take snapshots of the person and you can play it back later on in your mind. That's man and woman. We all have to struggle with that. Okay? And so he says, here's what you got to do. Seek first the kingdom of God. Seek first. Seek first. Not your pleasures. Seek first the kingdom of God. What do I got to do? What do I got to do? I'm glad you asked me that question. I must prioritize my thought processes. I have to keep my mind on things above, because it don't take much for my mind to go on things below. Oh, why? Because I'm born with it. I'm born with a fallen nature that has all of these proclivities for self-satisfaction. And I've got to learn how to deny myself. And sometimes I don't want to. But when you seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, guess what God does? He brings your due season. Oh, okay, here we go. I went too long. I gotta stop. Can I go 3 more minutes and then I'm gonna stop? He brings your due season because you have not fainted. You have persevered. You have stuck to it. Hey, Pee Wee, how are you? You have been found faithful. I didn't say you were found perfect. You have been found faithful. You got to get this. You got to understand this. You got to wrap your mind around it. And then you got to let it wrap itself around your mind. Let this mind be in you that was also in Christ Jesus. Now, y'all know y'all don't want me to take my time because this is a snapshot. I need to get this out here so you can understand this and recognize this clearly, okay? Because life is more than sexual, food, drug, alcohol gratification. Life is more. Here's what we do. We buy stuff that only lasts so long. Larry, are you hearing me? We buy cars that may last 6 to 10 years. We buy houses that consistently need maintenance until it's ridiculous the amount that it takes to maintain it. Then you got to get another one. We indulge in things that cost us money that we could be given to the work of ministry, but we too busy giving it to the works of our flesh. We go places and we buy stuff on impulses because it makes us feel good, because we don't really believe that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, because we have allowed the enemy to sow seeds in our lives, and then the supporting actors come along and reinforce what the enemy has said. I'm done. I can't go no further. When I come together tomorrow, we're going to finish this up. I got to get this finished. I got to get this finished because this is overwhelmingly important for us to get into understand. I pray that I can come to you around about 12 noon. That's what I'm going to try to do. I got to take Lady Harrison for some tests to be done. I'm praying that everything goes well so I can come back because I'm on fire for this. I'm on fire for this. Okay. And the reason I'm on fire is because we live in an age now that if you don't know how to manage money, money is managing you. So when gas gets up to $6 a gallon, let's see what you do. Here's what it's doing. And I'm going to say it again because, hey, Ronald, how are you? I got to say it again. I got to say it again because many of you aren't getting it, because the pandemic wasn't enough to discipline you. Because guess what? During the pandemic, all I heard people say is, I can't wait to get back to normal. I can't wait to get back to this. I can't wait to get back to that. How many of us tithed those stimulus checks? I put it out to the Union Church. It's income. I said, give God 10% of that stimulus check and watch what God does. Now, there was a bunch of people that did it, and there was a bunch of them that didn't. I believe, teach, Pastor. I believe, which includes me because I tithe from the stimulus check. I believe that God will keep the flow of revenue and resources flowing no matter how much stuff costs, because I've been found faithful with the revenue. I've been found faithful over a few, then I'll also be found a ruler over many. I know, I got to go. Listen, I love y'all. We weren't paying any attention to the pandemic. So guess what? The war in Ukraine got our attention now, because if there's anything that's going to make us talk to God, it's the fact that it costs so much to fill up that tank. Pastor Turnage, I wish I had somebody that could just bless his name in advance, because you already know that he'll meet you at the point of your. Listen, y'all have a blessed day. Temperatures changing, things are changing, but we serve a God who's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you from the depths of my soul and my heart, that God will show himself mighty in your life. May God bless you. May God keep you is our prayer.